Hello and thanks for stopping by. This is Limbo for the Xbox 360, released by Playdate in 2010. I'm playing this footage actually off an Xbox One X console, and I imagine you may be able to play it on the newer Xbox as well. Xbox in general seems to do a pretty good job when it comes to backwards compatibility. Anyway, Limbo is a side-scrolling puzzle adventure where you play a boy navigating through a side-scrolling world. I think the best way to describe this one is to call it a black and white nightmare of sorts. This game is designed to get you killed. You're going to die a lot in this one, and that's sort of the thing with this game. It's trial by death, basically. There are things lurking in the darkness, and you might have no idea they exist until you run into them, and then you get yourself killed. You don't have guns in this one, you don't have skills, experience, a level system, almost nothing that you would expect in most modern games. You aren't attempting to beef up your character in any way, you're just trying to get through this maze to the end. Like I said, this is basically a nightmare situation. You don't speak. Everything is dark and portrayed as creepy and gritty. And of course, you're going to get killed all over the place in potentially gruesome ways. I guess I would classify this one as a horror game, but certainly a differently orchestrated one. We're not talking Resident Evil type of stuff, but there are things that catch you off guard for sure. Like the giant spider that's tracking you down, or animal traps suddenly snapping shut and killing you, or getting crushed by various objects in the environment. And of course, drowning. Apparently you can't swim in this one. The goal is to get through this nightmare, solve any immediate puzzle, and then make your way on to the next one. You're in a forest, or maybe a cave, or possibly a jungle at different times, and it's always plenty dark. You'll see rotten and decaying trees, twigs, frayed rope, and weird horror elements thrown in, like a gross wooden cage or a body hanging from a rope, maybe a pile of spikes sticking out of the ground just waiting for you to fall in. It's this sort of beautiful gray and black landscape with this really creepy parallax scrolling. You have objects in the foreground that scroll at different speeds, as opposed to objects that might be in the background. This is a technique that developers use to create the illusion of depth, and it really works here. The things in the foreground or background also, they might be out of focus. This really makes the movement plane where you exist stand out by comparison, and I think it adds this dreamlike atmosphere to the game, kind of like you're looking through an old camera lens. It also zooms in and out sometimes, depending on whatever the scenario is where you are. Maybe if there's something big chasing you, the camera might zoom out to give you this really, really creepy effect of size. The way they handle sound in this game also sort of cranks up the emotions of this game a bit. Your avatar never talks, nor do any of the creatures that you run into. There are definitely noises, and occasionally a bit of music almost, but it's not a blaring soundtrack. So this lack of a soundtrack or talking characters, it really helps keep this one creepy. As of course does the gigantic spider that likes to follow you through the first section of the game. It barely makes any noise, it just shows up and stalks you. It's great. The only thing you really have to work with in this game is to master the controls and try to understand the physics of the world. How fast you move, how far you can jump, and how things might change or be affected by the various scenarios that you interact with. The controls, they're as simple as possible. The directional controller moves you around, the A button will jump, and the B button will be used to interact with things, which is mostly you just pulling or pushing something. That's really it. The puzzles are certainly doable, and they're built like any good puzzle should be built. They sort of make you think outside the box, even if just a little. If there's nothing in front of you, you might have to run past something to find it. Maybe you have to run backwards for a while to locate something that you just stepped over. Possibly. This one is about you worrying about timing and maybe finding certain objects at different times to just help you get through, to help you progress a little more. You never hold on to any item for any length of time. There's no inventory to speak of. So you don't have to pick something up on screen 1 and hold it for minutes or hours to get to another puzzle. Everything should be right there in front of you in the general area, roughly. And this sort of makes this game one that's about you focusing on the experience. And it's a good one. I think it's an exceptional game if you like platformers with mild horror elements included. Now, if you don't like scary or creepy things, maybe this one won't be for you. I think there's enough horror in here that probably makes it not that good for little kids either. Overall, I think Limbo's a really clever game with a really stylish appearance, and it works. You can get killed in a ton of different ways, and the puzzles are really clever and different. I think they set out to make a nightmare sort of dreamscape of a game, and I think they really succeeded with it. This particular game also hit a lot of top game lists over the years. I know it's been a while since it was released, but I also remember it being a big deal when it first came out. Well, that's all I have today for Limbo for the Xbox 360. If you like this type of video, please feel free to like and subscribe to the channel and all that good stuff. And thank you so much for watching. I hope to catch you on another video.